Awesome. So the first probably, let's say the first 5 minutes will probably not five. The first 3 minutes are probably me just setting this thing up. So how do I share this link? Do, 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 do. Crud. I should have figured that out first. There's the link. I can share the link. I'll copy and paste the link. It appears to be populating. Yes, it is working. Da, 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 da. Who can see the thing? Right, simple late night sound design live. Cool. And we're going to publish this thing to the public so that people can see it, and do the same thing on Facebooks and Twitter real quick. Okay, it's in the first place. Cool. It's going to the second one. Come on, Facebook. Yes. Cool. And Twitter. And copying the description. And copying the description one more time. I should be able just to copy all of this, but I'm not that savvy all the time. Okay, and share now, and tweet, and one more place on Facebook, just so it's visible for people. Oops. I'm recording sounds into a microphone live right now, ellipses. Boom. And I'll set it to friends. Done. It is now out on all of the things, except I have to retweet as my other name, because that's the other thing I do. Okay, logging in to the other name, sharing, and then I can finally start the darn thing. Okay. Tweet. There's the tweet. Didn't even show up in my own feed. That's a bad sign. All right, it's retweeted. And there we are. Welcome to Late Night Simple Sound Design. Today we are working on an episode of Tales from the Tower, specifically episode 4, season 3. This one's called Ditto, and we have some simple scenes to record that are going to be kind of fun. Adjust that microphone just a little bit. So I'm recording stuff today that's not like explosions. It's not people getting mugged by monster. Well, not too many monsters. And we're just going to kind of try and keep things as simple as possible. So this is the purpose of this is basically to create a sense of space within the episode, because right now it sounds okay. You can hear the characters, you can hear the background, but you can't hear the interactivity, which is probably the most important part of what I do as a sound designer. So you have the characters, you have the background, but they're not quite connected just yet, and all the parts where they need to sound connected. So today we are going to start by recording some simple things like breathing, because there's some running in this act. Oh, I missed the most important part. Apparently there's some eating in the scene, and I don't want to miss that before I have to breathe heavily into a microphone for periods of time. So our characters get some food, and we're going to start by recording. Apparently I can't even get these things out. The sounds of eating without being too gross. So I have a graham cracker, which is supposed to be a piece of puffed chocolate for our characters who are delightfully enjoying a snack of sorts. So we'll see how it goes. I have to do a couple bites in between lines where people are talking. So here we go. Apparently they eat really fast because they talk really, really quickly after, because it'd be really awkward if you had me speaking or chewing for as long as it actually takes to chew something. So they take a quick bite. So in the scene, let's have share screen. Let's see if I can share the screen. I don't appear to be able to share the screen, which is annoying. Um, maybe I can do like a video. Yes, I will do this. This is a cheating way. So here is, oops, okay. That's you. That's, it's not working so well. What about, so this is what I'm editing in, and basically you're seeing this stuff be recorded while I'm doing it. So it's a really short blip. I'm gonna hold this up while I do the quick editing bit. Actually, I can't see when I do that because it's right in the middle, but we'll try it out. It's actually really soft. So one of the things that's important when you're recording sound effects is to, hi people, is to make sure your volume is loud enough for you to hear what you're recording, because I can't quite hear that stuff. So I'm going to boost the volume super loud so that every time there's a crunch, I can hear it. If there's a cricket in the background of my recording or there's a problem, I'll be able to hear it. So I just updated the volume. Okay, I got the volume in for that one bite that I just took. So I have to do a second bite for a different part of the scene where they're still eating. So here we go. Wish me luck on eating and not choking. Here we go. Cool. That was it. I'm verifying that it sounds good. I'm going to listen to it one time. It's a 5-second clip. That was a really satisfying crunch. A little bit too loud, so I have to lower the volume. Okay, that was all the eating sounds. Huzzah! Eating is concluded. On my digital audio workspace, let me share this again with my cheap phone method. You will see maybe that I have little notes such as like, take a bite here, or there's one a little bit later that I also deleted that said take a bite there. I pre-note the session while I'm going through. I also have a bar that says like you're 100% done, and I keep moving it over as I get a little bit further into the editing process. But tonight, again, we're doing simple sounds, the last bits of an episode that kind of need to be added. I have a note here that says check the ambience after this point for gaps. Delete that. Add footsteps. I did that. Fade in effects on this. That's a mixing note. And then change the footsteps. Get up. Okay, get up. That's my first note. So I have a whole scene where I need to do motion sounds and breathing. I'm going to start with all the vocalization stuff because that's it is the higher likelihood of me passing out, and I want to do that. If it's going to be funny, we'll start it being funny. So we've got two characters in the scene, one of which is Melonius, one of which is Cassonia, and they're from Atreus, which is a interesting place. It is a fictional sci-fi colony. I'm going to show up a concept of what their clothing is, and we're going to try and together think like, what would this clothing sound like? So I have, oddly enough, fashion design concept art of what some of their clothing would look like. Let's go with nerdy male, nerdy youth. So he's dressed something like this fellow here, which you can sort of see. And in the design, it's very clothy, a little bit of plastic, probably, actually, this sounds kind of good. Or is that overkill? And we want more of a, I see him as being a little more quiet. So we're going to use the quieter jacket today. So we have a quiet jacket. To clarify, I have this big Old Navy vest, which makes a noise anytime you touch it. and that's going to be overkill. And this is the normal jacket. It's just a hoodie. It's nice and soft. It's made from, I think, cotton, and you can hear the difference in the microphone, like as it just sort of passes. This one doesn't deafen you with noise as we go through. And really quickly, just double checking that I posted the right link to everybody. Yes, it appears to be working. Cool. So I'm going to be walking around as Melonius, the main character of this one, just by brushing this a little bit close to the microphone. So we get the sound of interactivity as he touches things, as he gets hit, as he hits things. And we're going to start with that at the beginning of the scene. Wherever it's supposed to start. He gets scared and falls. So we're going to do a scaredy fall with some motion sounds. I'm also going to readjust this to be behind me. I'm wearing a black shirt. This wire was in front of me, which can easily get unplugged if I'm doing motions in front of my body. So here we go. Motion sounds as he's going to slip, which is kind of funny. So that was a bunch of sounds I apparently forgot were there. Um, First, it was the slip, which we discussed. Then, after he trips, we have him getting up, which was the secondary brushing sounds. He kind of dusts his coat off a little bit. And then we have a few more sounds. Sorry, I have to move a sound effect as well while I'm doing this because it's in the wrong spot. Ooh, that's a good creepy slip sound. We have the sound of him slipping, which has to be moved to a sound effects layer. It's not on a sound effects layer of having organization. Cool. So he slips, he falls, he gets up, he's scared again, he's kind of looking around and seeing what's happening. So that's all the motion sounds that we just recorded. Listening to it right now, just to double check. Sounds good. I'm erasing my note to have him get up because that's been taken care of. Then we have another action scene. Someone runs up to him and then he starts running. So we're going to record him getting frightened as someone jumps and scares him. And then he's going to be doing some running. So I'll be recording the running sounds for probably the whole episode is 12 minutes. And it's taken me 16 hours to do this 12 minutes. Maybe a little bit more than that, probably 18 hours by now. Here we go. And I rolled the chair so you could hear that at the end. So I have to start mid-run, got a chair roll this time. Re-getting to the right spot, and here we go. And I went a little bit over, so I'm deleting the extra space at the end because I brushed for slightly too long at the end of the scene. He stopped running, and I kept moving his body where it shouldn't have been. So here we go, a little bit more. They stop for a second, some bad stuff happens, and there's some more motion sounds. We're at 8 minutes of an 11-minute scene, so a few more minutes of motion sounds. Okay, and I'm almost to the end. I'm at 9:30 of 11. I have to just get a little bit further. There were some sounds that were in the way, and I didn't want to affect what I was working on. So I'm moving these guys to a different track, which would be no, that one's already taken. I have to make a whole new sound effect track because there's already occupied. This will go into SFX. I don't actually know what number I'm on because they're out of order. I'm going to name it 9 because I know I haven't used 9 before. So that's now on SFX 9, and I'm going to do some more motion sounds, trying to finish up this track. And it's important when you're labeling your tracks that you typically put a prefix SFX for sound effects, AMB for ambience, CHA for character, or CHAR if you remember that better. And it helps. It really does as you start to look at things. And if you color code them, that's cool too. A lot of people color code their tracks. So their sound effects are orange or blue, and the vocals are some other color like green. I forget to do that a lot, but when I'm working on a longer series like The White Vault or a story that's going to last for more than a couple scenes, I will do that as well. But for this short project, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because it's only a 12-minute short. So here we go. More motion sounds finishing up the scene as he runs away and does some more running or toward. We'll find out in the story on Tuesday. But here we go on motion sounds. Now we have him actually doing some exertion sounds and hitting stuff. So I have to do slightly different sounds, which requires me to put on one arm of this and not rip out the wire that I've got behind me. Here we go. Okay, that's much better. I have more control with one arm through the sleeve. Silly as that sounds. Here we go. And I need to give myself more time before I hit the record button. And the timing was off on the second hit because I wasn't expecting it. So I have to move the tracks around a little bit. And I did. Okay, here we go. Continuing on. I missed some more walking sounds as well. So I'll have to really quickly add a little bit more. We're at the 10-minute and 20-second mark. Almost done with all the walking. So close, yet so far. It's that mark again. And that's the end. Boom. Uh, that's the end of that scene and part of the story. So we've gone through all the big motion sounds of just kind of background noise when he's running, things of that nature. We now have the breathing sections for him as well. So he's going to be breathing as he's moving because people do when they run really quickly. So now it's just the breathing. And again, these are all sounds you can do from your home during a quiet moment when it's not super late, when it is super late, but when there are not lawnmowers going on in the background. So I have to add breathing in a couple of sections based on how exhausted he is. First section, he's been running already. For part one, there's about 4 of those. So I've done the first one. There's another big gap, about 9 minutes in. And we start here. And we've got another section of breathing toward the end. 2 more, actually. It sounds much more believable when you're running and you've got the sound of breathing. And that's it for his breathing. I believe. Double checking really quick. Going through. One more at the very end. Here we go. Breathe here. That was it. Some heavy breathing done. And now we have breathing for the bad guys because they creep up behind him and they just kind of breathe on his shoulder for a few seconds, which is always fun. So that's a little bit less intensive. That's that. Done. And then we've got one at the end for the zinger. Cool. Breathing done. We have now actual exciting stuff to some degree. For simple sounds, we're working now through helping someone stand up. We've got one of those going on. So we're going to help someone stand up using, again, more motion sounds. Switching to a louder jacket. Dumb as that sounds. Again, just it's the loudest jacket I own. It's actually just a vest. So that's exactly what I'm doing, moving this vest around for a few seconds. That was it for someone getting picked up. Next, we have I missed a spot with creepy breathing because I have little notes. So I see a note that says breathe creepily right here. It. Another little pickup spot. Final things we have are an attack sound. Someone gets hit. So more of these big jacket motion sounds. We'll see what we can do with that. So moving it over. So I'm basically editing while I'm listening. So it sounded incorrect because you have the hit and then you have the motion sound after. It needs to come before the impact sound. So I moved it a little bit to the left on the timeline. And now we have the sound of someone getting hit synced with the video of them getting hit, which is, or not the video, the impact sound and then the sound of the swing at the same time. And it's not like a super cheesy, like a, attack, but it's interesting nonetheless. And I think that's all we have for the episode. Nope, I have a little bit more. I have a whole extra scene that I missed, and I don't know how I missed a whole scene, but here we go. So at the end of the episode, we have someone Ah, man, I'm trying not to spoil things, but at the same time, it's exciting. So we have a scene where someone is in a bed and we've got them moving around a little bit. So we've got them sitting up at a moment. So that's at the very end. We'll have them sit up. Here we go. This is the sound of someone sitting up. I can't actually sit up because my chair squeaks and I don't want that sound. It's like you're in a hospital bed, you're moving. This is the sound of blankets and ruffling. So I have, again, the heavy duty jacket of the lighter of the two. And we're just going to do a quick sit up sound. That was it. Motion sound done. Um, moving, I actually recorded it to the wrong part. I recorded it under a breathing track for some reason. So I had to move that real quick. Oh no, I've done that a couple times. I have to move the other tracks to places that are not gonna mess me up. So cool. All right, they're moved. Awesome. And going back to the end of the thing, so the person is sat up in bed, which sounds pretty cool. But it didn't actually sound good throughout. So I have to edit and clip parts out, and I'm moving it over a little bit to get the sound of the movement in just the right spot. And once it's moved, it sounds much better because it actually fits the person who's talking. Because previously it was like, what's that? You know, getting up to look, and the sound is like, what's that? As opposed to like, what's that? Yeah, the sound has to go with the vocals. So it's again really simple stuff that I'm doing. I'm not doing anything too technical, but it really makes the scene feel a lot more real, and you can hear the difference with or without. Wish I could play it and have you hear it at the same time. That'd be kind of cool, but it would also be spoiler filled. But we have one more really interesting motion, which is someone getting a phone call and kind of moving and picking up their phone. Um, so I'm going to use the other side of the jacket so it doesn't sound quite the same. And I'm going to reach into a pocket because I have an actual pocket. I might actually just pull from the pocket because it might be too much sound. Yeah, that's much better. So I'll just pull because the whole motion is too long. And it's a very short moment of time that I have to put this sound in. It's only like 2 seconds. That was it. Cool. That was their whole big exchange of pulling a phone out of a pocket. Um, actually, it's a data pad, but same sort of thing. It's like a phone. So that's what we have, I think, on the episode. The only other thing I'm going to record for this one is there's two notes. It says add motion here. I have a motion sound for myself because I'm actually in the episode. And again, I'm going to use a lighter thing because it's just cloth, and it's me pointing at something. And I use grand gestures to point. Actually, that sounds even better than the jacket. So I'm just going to go. That'll be it. Recording. And I'll move that. I realized I made a mistake and I didn't do it right the first time, so I did it again, and I'm just pushing it in the right spot. So I have the right sound, the right timing, wrong place. Just moving it over, erasing the part that was wrong. And that's done. All right, and I have, again, these little notes on the timeline really help sometimes. Pan this in the distance, echoing laugh, did that, but it's got to sound distant, did that. And then the last scene, which is exactly 1 minute and 30 seconds, has some motion sounds in it already. Could really, 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 really benefit from the sound of the character in the bed. I don't have any bed squeaks that I want to use because I'm going to assume it's not a squeaky bed because it's the future and they're very comfortable. but I do want the sound of those blankets because we have like an EKG monitor, like the deep, 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 and that's a cool sound. But one of the things you think of when you're in bed is the sound of blankets, which this, again, luxurious vest just happens to sound so diverse. It's going to be all these things today. So I'm just going to be like lightly imagining that I'm someone's feet playing with the blankets as they receive horrible news. So here we go for 1 minute, 30 seconds, playing with blankets. Crap, I heard something in the track. Somewhere in my track, there was a little popping sound. I listened to it while I was recording the thing, and it wasn't what I recorded, but someone on another layer had a pop sound, so I had to erase that real quick. Back to recording. Feet, blanket feet. Cool. That was the ending right there, I believe. So that should help us out. Oh, wait, no, I screwed something up here. Apparently, I did not mute the silence at the end of the track, so you can hear me doing something at the end. Not sure. I'll delete that later. Anyway, that's all the sound design for an 11-minute story. This was only 4 minutes of it, plus a little 2-minute thing at the end. But it took about 33 minutes to record, about 30 minutes to record, 3 minutes to get social media stuff set up and say hi and get the stream out. But realistically, could have done it in maybe 25, but it's it is what it is, and it's exciting and it's fun. Even though this is sort of the boring stuff, it really makes you feel like when you hear that last scene on Tuesday when it comes out, you'll like feel the sense of space that, oh, this is a person in a bed, and oh, I can hear the bed that they're in, and oh, it's not a person in an ambience room, just you'll hear the sound of a room, but it's a person making sounds as if they're in a bed, and you can hear their feet uncomfortably moving as we go through. So that's kind of what we've got, and it's fairly simple, but uh, that is what we've got tonight. I've got a lot more to record in the next couple days, so this is a nice, easy evening of some things to record. So now I'm going to be getting to work after I export this and send it off to mix. I'm going to get to work editing the heck out of the White Vault Imperial. That'll be a lot of fun. Have a great evening. Thank you for joining, and hopefully we'll get some sleep.